It's late November in central South Dakota. Mark Kaiser, well, he's still kicking himself for not pulling the trigger on the giant running buck.
That buck was running fast. I probably should have taken the shot, but I didn't, hoping I would get the perfect shot. Well, I know Dave pretty good, and he had a backup spot.
I have several places along the river where I hunt. The river bottom and whitetails kind of go hand in hand, and I knew the number of deer were there, and during the rut, you know, not here today, a big buck could be there tomorrow, you know, and I thought it'd be a good chance for possibly killing a big bruiser buck.
Nice riparian zone, chock full of cottonwoods, ash trees, thick brush, the kind of place you'd expect a big buck to be lurking. There was a tree stand set up there already, so I immediately went to that. The reason being, it was in a good funnel pinch point, right along the river and right where the deer wanted to come out. Plus, that elevation gave me a good view of the field, the hay field, where most of the deer were going to end up that evening. And as I sat there and watched, I couldn't help notice two big 4x4s. Not 5x5s like I'd like to see, but they were decent looking 4x4s, and they caught my attention. Not quite enough for me to get out of the tree stand and move the few hundred yards I needed to for a shot, because I was still surveying everything there. It's the first night, the deer were calm, they had no clue I was around, so I figured that was the time to get my little checklist out and make a solid survey of who was on the field and who might be missing.
We had a lot of deer come out tonight, but not the right one. There's one big 4-point we saw come out at the end of the pasture there, but he's not quite a shooter, and we were running out of light anyway.
I just couldn't get that wide, heavy-horned buck off my mind, even though there are plenty of nice bucks down on the river bottom. Dave said, why don't you give it one more shot up on the highlands, the uplands, all that agricultural, and see if that big buck might have just come home overnight. And off we went, and winter was beginning to rear its ugly head. Freezing rain, again ice pellets coming down, a little bit of frost, a little bit of fog, and no buck. We watched that field and looked and looked and looked in every little valley around there. We've seen some other bucks, we've seen a lot of doe activity. That big buck still had the fear of God in him, and he wasn't coming home right yet. A few of you are really good shots. I'm not one of them, and I know a few of you watching out there probably aren't the best shots either. So the whole key to hitting your target is getting stable and having a gun that's sighted in. That surely helps as well. But what you want to find is a place where you can get a rest. Now, I usually shoot prone. I like laying around. I'm not lazy, but the prone shooting position is the most solid for me. As you can see here, we're in some ultra thick cover, and it's tall. There's no way I'm going to be able to shoot prone or even get down on my knee. What I look for are trees for two reasons. One, to break up my outline in this thick cover when a deer does come in either to an opening or to my rattling. And two, a tree gives me stability. I can lean right up against that tree and get solid. What really works well is a pair of shooting sticks that are built for height so you can stand up and shoot. That way I can find a nice tree backdrop like this. It's solid. I can lean into it, set my shooting sticks up. I'm rock solid and not gonna miss unless buck fever takes over. That evening, I felt that the river bottom again should be looked at. You just never know when a big buck will have taken a hot doe off, spent a day and a half, 2 days with their breeding, and then she'll back up looking for another one. Well, back on the river bottom, I stayed out of the tree. This time I wanted to be right on the field edge and allow myself enough cover. If I did see a big buck, I could scoot down that cover and crawl within shooting range of anything on that field. The deer started coming out on that field, almost the same players as the night before, and almost in the same pattern. although this time they did start feeding toward my edge a little bit closer. That big 4x4 popped out for a second and then ducked back in the woods. He wasn't playing out in the field like the night before. The other decent 4x4, he was though, and got pretty close. I just didn't feel like it was still time to take a shot. So at the end of the evening, I had a great show. I saw a lot of good bucks, and I saw a new perspective of where some deer were coming from that might give me another place to search the next time I came down to the bottom.
Riders expect certain things from a Can-Am ATV. Groundbreaking technology, responsive handling, and the most power in every class. So why would they expect anything less from a Can-Am side-by-side? Introducing the Can-Am Commander, the most powerful rec utility side-by-side in the industry, with precision handling and the first dual-level cargo box. The facts say it's the most advanced side-by-side ever built, but the ride says it all.
Next Generation is born from passion, inspiration, innovation. It's an all-new binocular forged through experience and built to exceed expectations. A new series of rifle scopes engineered to welcome the challenge of dawn and dusk and deliver the promise of precision with technology that helps make every shot spot on. ProStaff is the next generation of passion-inspired performance. It's Next Generation now.
Hornady, trusted by hunters and shooters for over 60 years. Our reputation rides on every shot. Accurate. Deadly. Dependable. It's what we